hard to get all these gray hairs, I'll tell you. Anyhow, our machines, they all basically, this is the old style machine that we have. They're still a good machine, but we're trying to phase them out to the new models because these are a lot more user friendly. But like I said, we'll have it all preset for you. The on and off for this one is right here in the middle, and for this one, it's basically in the same place, only it's right here on the front. So right here. And you've got these machines in your building, I think, right now. So, one thing about this machine is it doesn't like too much water in the humidifier. Because if you get too much water in the humidifier, especially if someone's on high pressure, it'll blow up into the tubing in your resident. Either it'll fill this full of water, or if this filter's not on here, they'll say, I'm drowned and that mask is drowning me. Well, that's what happens. Somebody put a little too much water in here. And if it happens to tip or something like that, it'll run the water right into the machine. And so this is very easy to take out. As far as cleaning on the machines, in this handout, it's like I said, it's geared for home care. It talks about a washcloth and mild detergent and that type of thing. But for us, Clorox wipes, just give it a good wipe down, and sometimes we have a buildup of calcium deposits on the bottom of our humidifier chambers. The best thing for it is vinegar. Just put a little vinegar in there, and I usually use a toothbrush and it'll come right out for you. Yes?
What happens if you don't have water in it?
If you don't have water in it, well, you're not going to be giving your resident humidity. And believe it or not, some people can't tolerate it. They can't tolerate humidity. And so a lot of people say, don't give me that water, I hate that. And a lot of doctors will order without humidity.
Okay.
So,
but it won't burn it up, and it's not gonna hurt them.
No.
Okay.
No. It won't. So if you have an order for that, we can actually even take the humidifier off. In fact, if you have an order, we'll take it off because it makes your rental cheaper. If they don't need it, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Yes.
So what about the tubing itself that needs to be cleaned?
This tubing, for home care, they recommend you rinse it out and let it hang and all that stuff. For us, we send out every 90 days for all your residents a PAP change-out kit. It has this filter, the bleed-in adapter, the 7-foot tubing, and the bacteria viral filter. And so that, by changing that out, that should keep you in compliance with the state. And you would have a record of the delivery of that stuff for your resident. And we've got a copy too. So that, and I have had, over the years I've been doing this, I've had the state call me a few times and question about a resident's mask change out, and I tell them, I said, we package these up and send them to our facilities with the resident's name on it. And they're like, really? I said, yep. I said, they've got it, so, and they've got a copy of the delivery ticket. And my oldest daughter's a nurse, and she's been very helpful in all the years I've been doing this to guide me in what I need to do to help the nurses out from a nursing perspective. And so we try to make it as user-friendly for you because you guys are very busy, you've got an important job, and you've got enough to do without going around looking for a bunch of stuff all over the facility. So that's why we try to have it packaged up for you so you got everything you need. Any questions so far?
So we don't clean them, we just throw them out every 90 days.
Yeah,
okay.
You just throw that whole thing away.
Okay.
Like brand new. I mean, you can, if it gets really gunked up, I would recommend you change it out. The problem with rinsing these out in long-term care facilities is you've got an opportunity for a bacteria chamber right here to be growing bacteria in the tubing. And so it's a lot better if we just, unless you have somebody with a lot of secretions or something, and sometimes it's just gunked up, or it has a break in it, just let us know, we'll get you another tubing. Like I said, we're only five minutes away from you, so. And these things tear easy. A lot easier than they used to. Used to, they were pretty tough, but now then it seems like they break a lot easier. Now with this particular BiPap, this is a humidifier chamber on it, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to get in there, whereas the other one you can get inside and clean it real easy. This one, if you push on this little trigger right here, it comes right off. Makes it real easy for you to get into it. Like I said, same thing. If you need it, just use vinegar. If you're checking it, I don't know how often you can check them, every week or 2 weeks.
Well, how often do you recommend the chambers be cleaned?
Well, I would recommend when you fill it, when you put water in it, I would look it over and maybe wipe it out, rinse it out real quick, just to, if it gets gunky, just use your vinegar. But yeah, just rinsing it out, and then if you want to, you can wipe it down with a paper towel, and then that way, if you've got any residue in there or anything, that towel will pick it up, and it'll keep it nice and clean for you. But I'd recommend every week at least to do that, as you think of it. And that's what most of the DONs I know and facilities, that's usually what they do, is every week. Somebody usually on night shift does it. Not throwing anybody under the bus on night shift. Also, when we send out these packets, this is in there, and it shows you how to change the filters in case it's new to you, you're new in the facility or something. Shows you, and it's got the filters here. Now for this machine, this black filter is changed every 90 days, and the little filters are changed every 30. And you can rinse this one out, the one that's changed every 90 days. If it gets dirty, you can rinse it out.
Where does it go?
It goes on this machine. It goes right back here. There's that, and there's a white one underneath, and that's the fine filter. And like I said, this one you can reclean. This one you can't. If it gets gunked up, we just need to put a new one in. And like I said, we send you enough for 90 days. Every one goes. We send 3 out for the 30 days, and then the one is changed. This one's every 90. Same with this one. This particular machine is right here, the side, and it just slips right out. And this particular machine right here has a modem in it, and we can set in our office, if you've got this machine in your building on a resident, and you have an order change or whatever, you need the machine adjusted, or you want to know if they've been wearing it, or you want a compliance study for the pulmonary doc or whatever, you need a sleep study, or we can do those too, but not with this, but we can do sleep studies, but we can change this machine from our office in Festus. Anywhere in the United States, we can change it from that office. And so it's anything we can do to expedite things. It works out great, and this works out real well because, like, if you have a doc that wants a sleep compliance report for their resident, see how compliant they are, we can print that out for you and get it to you. And if somebody complains and says, something about you ask them and they're not wearing their CPAP or BiPap, and they're like, oh yeah, I've been wearing it. Well, if you ever have a question, call us and we could look it up and tell you exactly how long they've been wearing it. So that works out great for you and for us and for the docs. But like I said, we can also do bedside sleep studies. I think we've done one here or two in your facility. And we can do overnight pulse oximeters, all that stuff for you.
We were never shown any of this. We were never shown any of this.
In school?
Maybe on a slide,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But never
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
where we show how to
Oh,
clean
yeah.
these,
Yeah.
take them apart, put them back together. And,
Well, you shouldn't have to take it apart. That's where we come in.
okay, we
Yeah.
were never shown.
Yeah. That's why we've got, in fact, when we get one of these in, we take them apart and we run them through our COVID process. So every one of them have been fogged for COVID, and it's got like 20 different things it kills. So, and then we put them back together and test them out. Each one has a study ran on it so that we know it's functioning properly before we ever put them right back out in the field. Any questions? Like I said, with masks, usually we just recommend you wipe them out with wet cloth if they get soiled or somewhat. With masks, if you have a gentleman with a lot of facial hair, especially if their face is somewhat oily or in the summer with a lot of sweat, you'll probably have problems getting their mask sealed properly. And there's not a lot you can do about it other than if they're shaved. But I mean, other than just trying to get the oil off their face, that's about it. Or you can wipe this down too. We don't want to use anything with alcohol, anything like that on the mask. And these masks seal very well compared to the way they used to be a long time ago. They didn't seal worth a hoot. And in fact, when we first started putting CPAPs out in long-term care a long time ago, we could only use the nasal mask. Because if the machine quit and you were on a full face with the CPAPs back then, if somebody didn't come in and take that mask off, you weren't going to be here because the machine wouldn't let you breathe through it. Now the machines will let you breathe through it, you know, an emergency, but not back then. So I'm glad that they do this now because it makes it a lot easier for all of us. But yeah, it was kind of harrowing back then if the power went out. And nobody had generators and all that stuff, so it was problematic. Any questions on cleaning? Like I said, it's very straightforward now. Your Lysol wipes, your vinegar if you need it, and my wife works in a hospital lab, and they used to use bleach, disinfecting everything in the lab. Now they use vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. They found that the kill rate on that's far better than anything else. In fact, we back in the height of COVID, we used to fog facilities, and it's unbelievable how peroxide kills stuff. I mean, it just really works on. So if you ever have a problem, use peroxide. It works great, and it's very reasonable priced. Any questions? Like I said, we have everything clear up to a trilogy ventilator, and we don't have a lot of those out, but we do have some out. But for the most part, whenever you see the orders coming in, if it's not just inspiratory pressure, expiratory pressure, and it's they say BiPap. And a lot of times you'll get the orders over the phone or something, and they'll mention something, and they'll have about 5 different things on there. Well, it's probably not a straight BiPap. So, you know, I don't know, but if you see something weird or something, if you have any questions, give us a call. And whenever we get the order, we'll get you the right piece of equipment, because there's a lot of different things come into play. I just had a facility send me an order from a sleep lab in Cameron, Missouri, and it has 2 expiratory pressures, 2 pressure supports. It has no inspiratory pressure, and that's for someone with central sleep apnea. So that's why it's kind of funky like that, because somebody like that can't breathe against pressure. You can't have a flow coming into you because it just terrifies you. So your body, it works with your body and it compensates, and you're breathing, but you're not getting an inspiratory pressure. It's just that expiratory pressure and that pressure support. So it'll raise the pressure like we're all breathing right now about 4 plus 4 on a CPAP. If we were breathing on a CPAP right now, the pressure that we're breathing atmospheric is about 4. And so that's what we're doing, is we're just adding on to it with a CPAP or a BiPap. We're just adding on to that pressure. And one thing we always recommend is if you're bleeding oxygen, we always like to put it right next to the mask, whatever type of mask. And all the masks are made so that the adapter will fit right on.
So, you just switch the whole thing around. Does it have 2 of those on both sides of there? Never mind.
No, it's
I'm
just
thinking of Mark's. His goes right into the.
right
next to
here.
it. Yeah.
Right here.
So
It's
I'm
got
gonna
it right
switch it.
here. Like this.
Okay, so it's backwards.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it whatever. And a lot of residents hate having that up by their face because they've got that bleed-in oxygen tubing running to the concentrator. They hate that. So
Yeah,
if
fine,
it's
fine.
whatever's
Okay.
best for your resident, whatever works
Oh,
best.
hazard.
Anything else? Like I said, we're only a phone call away. Call us anytime if you have any questions. I promise I won't start crying on the phone or
We
nothing.
might.
Remember that, George, I'm gonna remember that.
We good?
Thank you, George.
Oh, you're quite welcome.